Okay, today we are at the Rambo entry to the Silver Comet Trail. Today we're going to go from this Rambo entry point, which is in Dallas, Georgia, all the way to Rockmart, Georgia. It's about a 32-mile or so round trip, and I did this about a week ago with some buddies, but I forgot to turn the camera on, so that is what we're going to do today. One of the things about this trailhead is it's kind of hidden. Once you get off Highway 9 onto Bonnie Lane, you have to look for the Rambo Nursery, which is right up the hill here. And there's no real signs until you get to the parking lot. So you gotta really kind of know where you're going to get to this one. There's another one in Dallas. It's a little easier to get to, but the Rambo one's usually pretty good for parking and things like that. So we are on the Silver Comet Trail, Dallas to Rockmart. And it's a nice cool day in October. So we are going to do a nice little ride here. Just me today. My buddies abandoned me. So we are going to take this ride again. We did it last week, but my camera was malfunctioning. So I'm going to do it again. And show you guys what the Silver Comet Trail looks like between Rambo and Rockmart. Now it's really flat. I mean, if you're looking for an easy 32-mile round trip, then you can take this ride because it is really almost flat. There's a little bit of uphill, a little bit of downhill grade, no hills. So it is a very pleasant ride. Take your time. Not a lot of people on it, so you're not going to be bothered too much by folks walking anyway. A few bikers. And in the middle of the week, there's really not even that many bikers, so it's pretty boring as far as a lot of commentary, but it's beautiful. And like I said, it's an easy ride. You can take it as fast or slow as you want to. Not a lot of traffic. It's a nice little trestle. So this was once an old railroad track, right of way is what it is now. And the Rails to Trails got it, or worked with the state to get it. And now it's a really great 90 miles from Smyrna, which is just outside of Atlanta, the western suburbs of Atlanta. It runs 62 miles to the Georgia-Alabama state line. At that point, it connects to the Chief Ladiga Trail, right there at the state line. Esom Hill is the name of the town. From there, it goes another 33 miles into and if you wanted to take a nice long, a couple 100-mile ride, you could do it there and back. And there's hotels, there's little towns on the way, there's stops on the way. It's a really well-built, well-maintained trail. So today I'm riding my Rise mid-drive. It is something new I've got. And on your left this was one when I entered it had. Went through a tunnel here. So my Rise mid-drive is my new bike. I had a little problem with the rad I was using. The motor went out. It very expensive to change one of those things. So I got the Rise, got the mid-drive. I was curious how those things work, and actually I like it maybe better for certain, particularly if you're going to ride gravel or a little bit of off-road. The Rise mid-drive is more of a mountain bike type of feel, whereas the Rad, it was a City 5 Plus, was more of a commuter, and it felt like a commuter. It had the Dutch style frame and handlebars, so you really set up right, very comfortable. Could handle hills, but again, motor went out. I got this Rise, and I'm really happy with it so far. It's easier to load because the weight's all in the middle. The motor's where the pedals are, so that it's easier to get on and off the rack. Because you know, with the hub drives, all the weight's in the back. So you got to be able to lift about 40 pounds, you know, up to your chest to get it on a bike rack. And if you don't have some upper body strength, you could have little trouble with that, but very happy with it. It's a different experience. The pedaling is different. You got to use your gears more because you literally could snap your chain, or more likely tear up your freewheel, because it puts so much torque on the ground. So there's never a problem with any hill I've encountered. It will climb a tree. So I'm very happy with it so far. And you get a pretty good mileage, about the same as with the Rad. I mean, you can trust 45 miles. Flat path like this one, maybe 50. Might be pushing it, but you could get back in pedal assist 1 at 50 miles, because I've done it. Maybe a little more. But anyway, these Rise bikes though have an attachment for a second battery and a kind of a plug and play, so that if you want to go 100 miles, you can, second battery, because it draws from both, and supposedly doubles your mileage. So if you're looking to take a long ride, then you know, something like this with the double batteries. A lot of guys try and hack it on their bikes and, you know, mount double batteries and have to put in the circuitry to make that work, and it's really complicated. And you can buy stuff, but honestly, if you can buy a bike that does it, why not? All these bikes are pretty much the same, I think. This is a Bafang mid-drive motor. I know there's quite a few bikes using these now, since you can put a throttle on it, which you can't on the Bosch or some of the other European manufactured motors. So for me, it's pretty important to have that, because even in first gear, it's hard for me to get started uphill. So just a little safety feature in my mind. I did an unboxing and a first impressions video on this bike, so if you want to take a look at that, you can. It's so far so good. Like, I've only got a couple 100 miles, 200-300 miles on it, but you know, like I said, so far so good. We'll see. Proof's in the pudding. I had about 3,000 on their Rad before it had a fatal issue, so hopefully I'll get more out of this one. So I'm going to shut up now and let you guys enjoy the ride. So the sign back there just said mile 25. So we are 25 miles in from the start of the trail back in Atlanta. And like I said, I think it goes about 90 miles if you were to ride it end to end. Today we're only going to do about, I think it's like about 16 to Rockmart, 16 back, so it'll be about 32 miles. Nice little ride, beautiful day, nice and cool for the first week of October. By the way, right now it looks like I'm doing about 15 miles an hour. I'm in pedal assist 1, analog gear 5, so that gives you a little idea about, you know, what the bike is doing. It's a little bit downhill though, so I think I would probably not be going 15 miles an hour if it were flat or a slight uphill grade, but no problem. No problem pedaling. Again, I don't think you'd have a problem on an analog bike, even if you've got bad knees like I do. It's such a flat trail. Again, nothing too exciting, just beautiful country bike trail. Very peaceful. It's all concrete, by the way, the trail. So it doesn't, you know, there's no boardwalks or even asphalt. I think it's all concrete the whole way. One of the few road crossings coming up. This is another trailhead. Again, analog gears seem to be a little more important to these mid-drive bikes than they are to the hub drive bikes. Although I still use them, and I definitely could tell a difference when I did. These analog bikes, since everything's actually going through the chain, so all the work that makes the bike go forward is going from the chain to the back rear hub of the bicycle. That is typical of an analog bike as well. So you got to be a little more careful with it, I think, because these things put out huge amounts of torque. Torque being the thing that, you know, gives the bike climbing abilities, and but it also means that you could wrench off the freewheel if you're not careful. I'm told. I've not had a problem. It is a little tricky to shift, especially shifting from low gear to high gear, from, say, you know, 2-3 to 6-7. You gotta lay off the power a little bit in order to shift it smoothly. It's a little different from an analog bike or even a hub drive bike, where you want to shift under pedal, right? I mean, you don't want to stop pedaling, but that's not the case with these, because the power comes on instantly, and you're putting a lot of pressure on your chain and your gears. So it's best to ease up on the power while you shift. clipping right along, going about 5 miles, so. Again, this was an old railroad right-of-way, so it's the trains don't like to go up or down hills, so pretty smooth right now. Very shady path, so even I think on the hottest days it would be fine to ride because it is so shady. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning right now, so you know, again, really shady. Gotta watch the hickory nuts this time of year, especially if you got a skinny tire. On your left. A lot of broken down bikes today. Hope that's not a bad omen. There's a nice little tunnel. You should dismount your horse if you want to go through it, though. But I think you're okay on a bicycle. Kind of cool. I guess the trains used to go through that tunnel. Must be a part of the mountain they cut through. A lot of rocks on the side of the trail here. Okay, we're in Polk County. Okay, well, I've changed out the SD card, got a sip of water, and we'll be on our way. Done about 9.3 miles. Easy miles. You could ride all day on a path like this. However, after Rockmart, it gets really hilly. So they got one hill called Dead Man's Curve that I mean, there's a cross at the bottom of it. So I don't know if that means anything, but there's some pretty hilly sections once you get past Rockmart. So if you're not a climber or, you know, on an e-bike, then you might want to avoid some of those sections. This is a wimpy bell. I replaced the one that was on here. I thought this was going to be a better bell, but it ain't. So I've ordered another one that people might actually be able to hear. The one that was on it was okay, but it was just too big for there's no real estate on these flat mountain bike handlebars. And I've actually replaced the ones that came with it because they were just too flat. I needed a little bit of rise because I like to ride upright, and you were just bent over too much. But what happens is when you try to get all your stuff on these handlebars, there's just no real estate to do it. I guess you could get one of those extension bars that you can, you know, put all your gear on, but yeah, that don't look right. So I'm sticking with this. I actually, if I could get rid of this shifter, this paddle shifter, to one that sits on top, which I'm probably going to do, then it'll give me more real estate and I'll be able to arrange things properly. But for right now, I just have to live with it. Four miles to Rockmart. And this is called Coots Lake Beach Trailhead. Uh-oh, here's a car coming, maybe. Nope, it's okay. All right. quite a few tunnels on this leg of the Silver Comet. Morning. Beautiful day for a bike ride. Well, we should be getting close to Rockmart. About to hit 15 miles. A little water. Part of the rock quarry at Rockmart. Several big rock quarries, I think, in Rockmart. As the name shows or tells the tale, it's a rock mart where you come to buy rocks. Leaves are starting to fall. Autumn's in full bloom here in Georgia. It's about to be anyway. Leaves are starting to change. Whoa. It could definitely put you on your butt. You had skinny tires. Squirrel. Beauregard Street. The Rockmart River Walk. Really pretty. Rockmart's a pretty town. Not a very large town, but oh, there's school. Soli Sandwich Shop. Great place to get sandwiches in Rockmart.